Ladies and gentlemen, violence against women is an abomination. I would like to call it crime against humanity. It stands against everything in the United Nations Charter.
The need to prevent and end violence against women and girls and support women and girls refugees and internally displaced survivors of violence is crucial in today's world. Statistics shows that 1 in 3 women globally will experience physical and sexual violence in her lifetime. In northern Nigeria, these incidents are more prevalent due to the effects of some cultural norms and practices and the growing rates of insurgency in the area. These staggering statistics beg for intervention in protecting the rights of women and girls in these communities. Angwanromi and Angwandusa are 2 semi-urban communities located in Kaduna State in the northwestern geopolitical zone of Nigeria. These communities have an estimated population of 50,000 people, with about 60% of the population being women and 40% men. Despite this, women are not well represented in the decision-making processes of these communities. Angwanromi has only 1 woman leader in its local council of 7 men, who is not directly a member of the local council of 11 men in the community. These communities live an agrarian lifestyle and host traders, civil servants, and artisans. Mostly, the women earn income by processing, cooking, and selling food, clothing items, scraps, pots, medicines, vegetable oils, and other small items. Angwanromi and Angwandusa experience a periodic outbreak of violent intercommunal conflict. Women and girls are often direct targets of these conflicts or caught in the crossfire, suffering displacement, property destruction, or loss of family breadwinners. They are also exposed to abuse, including sexual violence, within their families and communities.
Da gaskiya unguwan Dosa din nan zaki ga ana yin wasu abubuwan su fyaɗe din nan da ake yi da sauransu da ake yi gaskiya irin zuwan ku mun ji daɗi da muka je kuna wayar mana da kai in mun zo mu ma muna wayar da al'umma kai irin yara a rika sa musu wanduna haka da sauransu gaskiya mun gode mun samu ci gaba duk yanzu ba a yi wannan abubuwan da zaki ga mu da har muna jin tsoro zaka aiki yaro ma kana jin tsoro zaka aike shi wuri kai ma babba kai ma kanka kana jin tsoro kar ka fita wayannan yaran su kama ka su maka fyaɗe to gaskiya zuwan kungiyar nan naku mun gode ma Allah mun gode muku gaskiya mun ji daɗi gaskiya mun gode ma Allah saboda in muka je wurin semina muka je muka da kuka ba mu abin da za ku ba mu muka dawo gida ko ba gaskiya ba ko dan wani haka ko da wani ya shigo maka cikin gida zai kawo maka wani kuka haka za ka ɗauki dan wani abu kai ma daga samu kai ma din za ka bashi kuma me mata haka za su shigo su kawo maka kuka su ce maka kaza kuma kai ma din za ka wayar musu da kansu ka ce musu su yi haƙuri kaza 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 irin kana wayar musu da kansu yanda za su gane su zauna kuma kamar irin kuɗin da kuke ba mu muka dan sai wasu abubuwa haka kamar su omo sabulu haka muna siya haka kuma yaran mu ma haka muna tallafa musu su ma haka gaskiya ba abin da zan ce ma wannan abu sai dai mun gode ma Allah mun gode mu gaskiya mun amfana sosai.
The culture of silence in Angwandosa and Angwanromi was discovered during fieldwork by the staff of Empowering Women for Excellence Initiative, a non-governmental organization that provides multi-sectoral interventions for the empowerment of women and girls.
Na ga canji saboda a kan program ɗin da ake yi suna ƙoƙarin abubuwan da ake yi suna halarta kuma suna abubuwan da ya kamata muna ganin canji ba wani hali kawai muna ganin dai abubuwan da ake mun gamsu da shi tunda yana taimakon al'umma da yawa wasu kan zo su kawo kukansu ma akan matsaloli irin na cin zarafin mata da su to abin da yi da ɗan sauƙi kaɗan tunda ko da bayan da aka yi wata aka kawo ta wannan baya wasu kai mata wani abun da bai dace ba tun daga nan dai ba mu sake jin irin shi har yanzu To abin da zan faɗa akan abin nan din, gaskiya abin nasu ya a yanda suke bani labari ya kawo matsala kaɗan, saboda wasu abubuwa na da ake buƙatar su gabatar da abin nan. Amma dai mu muna ƙoƙarin sa su a hanya saboda su gyara don ci gaban su. Akwai hanya, inda duk wanda zai zo tallafa ma da wani abu ka ɗan samu wani riba a kai, ai ka samu taimako. Akwai abin da zan faɗa musu, sun yi ƙoƙari sun taimaka, kuma muna gode musu akan taimakon da suka yi, suka shigo al'umma haka, ke wayar musu da kan, ke wayar mutane da kai akan sa su a hanya da za su abin nan, za su samu ci gaba.
Results of data gathered during this fieldwork show that these communities have little or no knowledge about the forms of gender-based violence, where to report or who to report to.
My name is Bashir Musa Mohammed. I'm the PRO to JTF and Gwandosa. So my institution do a lot of things to end violence in our area. Most in our community. I am aware of our Safe Spaces project in Angwandosa, and I attend the project. To be sincere, I'm happy with the project because they reduce a lot in our community, more especially through the women, because they give them help to our society in any angles, because they touch any. We have almost 8 angles in Angwandosa, and the organization has touched it all over the 8 angles, which I believe my wife is among the beneficiaries of the society. If we can have much as any organization like this organization, it helps through our community, more especially the youth and women. And I believe the emir of our area is aware of the organization and is into the organization fully hand.
What to do in the case of gender-based violence and how it can be prevented. Due to this knowledge and skill gap, Empowering Women for Excellence initiative, in partnership with the United Nations Trust Fund, began implementing the Our Safe Spaces project. This project was geared towards supporting women and girl survivors of gender-based violence, physical violence, internally displaced, women in minority groups, economic violence, and sexual exploitation in Kaduna State, Nigeria. Our Safe Spaces promotes beneficiaries' access to psychosocial support systems and economic empowerment opportunities to facilitate the normalization of their lives. Our Safe Spaces also work to improve community support to address violence against women and girls using participatory and community-based approaches. Our Safe Spaces has directly engaged 80 women, 40 from each of the project communities of Angwandosa and Angwarumi, with the project also indirectly benefiting over 3,727,161 beneficiaries.
Ni OSS beneficiaries ne. Yanzu shekarar mu 3 muna wannan project, kuma ba ni da abin da zan ce wannan project sai dai in ce na gode, Allah ya saka da alkhairi. To na amfana da shi sosai da sosai. Wurin ta wajen taimakon yadda zaka zauna ma da mai gidanka, da yadda zaka taimaki 'ya'yanka, da yadda zaka taimaki wani in yana cikin wani damuwa, duka duk mun karu da wani. To mun taimaki wasu matan haka da yara irin wanda suke cikin damuwa ko suke dan neman wani abu, muna da shi saboda yadda mu aka koyar da mu da mu taimake su, in bai fi karfinka ba kai ma ka taimake su da shi. Na gode sosai da wannan tallafi tun daga shi nan shine ai ce na ƙara sana'a na da shi sosai tunda da jarin bai kai haka ba. Sanadin wannan tallafin ne na ƙara jari na. Da ina sa kaza 150 na da ina sa 200 250 sanadin wannan tallafi da aka bamu. Ban da abin da zan ce sai dai in ce na gode. Abin da zan ce shine dai mun gode Allah saka da alkhairi Allah kuma ya ƙara mu kungiyar nan ɗaukaka. Allah ya ƙara ƙarfafa ta. Mun gode Allah saka da alheri. Samina ya taimake mu sosai tunda an nuna mana yadda in muna sana'a in ka yi sana'an ka gama ga yadda za ka cire uwar kuɗi da yadda za ki yi ki samu riba ki save riban ki har ki zo ki san me kika yi da shi da ya taimake ki. In ka siyar da abu za ka lissafa abin da ka kashe ka cire kuɗin sannan ka samu riban abin da ka samu shi ma ka ajiye a gefe.
The Our Safe Spaces project beneficiaries in these communities are from various ethnic groups, including Bagi, Jaba, Atiab, Baju, Koguma, Koru, Ogun, Idoma, Koguru, Miriam, Adara, Bura, and Margi.
Ni daya daga cikin mata wadda suka isa suka samu shiga kan wannan OSS da an zo an yi mamu interview a Rome aka kwashe mu ana training mu. Wallahi wannan project ya taimake ni domin dama jali na bai kai komai ba. Amma yayi da project wannan suna taimake ni haka ne kasuwanci nawa ya daga sosai ya karu sosai fiye da yadda na fara shi. Seminar wannan ya koya mamu abubuwa da yawa gaskiya sun kun koya mana abubuwa masu yawa kuma ya canja rayuwarmu da kuma rayuwa matasa da ya mata da suna anguwa wannan domin wani lokaci muka kira su mu fadakar masu da kai saboda yara mu matasa da suna yawan shaye-shayen na musamman a kasuwa na wannan inda nake kasuwanci in ka same su wuri da suna zauna suna shan su gogoro wannan sai in ba su magana ce kun gani shan gogoro wannan ba zai kai ku ko ina ba ku nima sana'a abinda zai taimake ku a rayuwanku kuma a da muna samu ya maza suna bin ya mata da daddare suna masu fiyade wannan to tun da muka fara program wannan gaskiya abin ya rage sosai a anguwan Rome ba mu a same shi kamar yadda da suna yi wani lokaci idan kun kira mu kun ce mu kawo waɗansu su zo muna kira su ya mata da ya maza su bi mu su zo su gani abubuwa da ana koya mamu kuma sun samu ganewa sosai ta wajen kwaisuwa da kuna koya mamu ofis da kuka bude mamu ya taimake mu sosai domin da muna samu maza suna duka matansu waɗansu maza ba su ba matansu abinci to mun fadakar da mata idan akwai iri waɗannan kuma akwai su suna kawo kara a ofis in sun kawo kara a ofis sai mu nima mai gida don mu zauna da shi mu ganar da shi mu roke shi ba haka rayuwa yake ba ya yi hankuri da zama rayuwa waɗansu maza mun same su sun canja waɗansu mata kuma wanda sun gudu sun bar mazansu waɗansu sun dawo wajen mazansu suna duba yaransu gaskiya abinda kuka yi mamu ubangijin Allah ne kada shi ne zai biya muku ba karamin taimako kuka yi mamu ba mun kuma muka yi wanda suna kusa da mu abinda zan fada sai godiya ba abinda zan fada da ya wuce godiya domin gaskiya muna zauna kai a duhunce ba mu san wai akwai wani abu kaman haka ba.
The beneficiaries in these communities have experienced different categories of violence, from gender-based violence, economic violence, ethnic minority discrimination, and have also accommodated internally displaced persons from other communities that have experienced communal violence.
I'm one of the beneficiaries, OSS, Angwanrum, Kaduna. Using myself as an example, due to what happened to me, like in 3 years back, I dropped out of school due to I was pregnant. So after then, I put to bed. The father of the child was not able to support us with anything. so he left. So my grandma has been helping throughout there and now. So before you guys came, the OSS, our self-space came into. So when they came, they have been helping me on different aspects. Even I was dropped out of school. They helped me due to school aspects. I was able to write down my WAEC. Now I have my secondary school certificate because they have already done a lot to me and also to my family. If not for them, I don't know how, because my mom has been trying her best to see I go back to school, but I just thank God for the OSS. I'm now back to school. Yeah, due to the situation of GBV in my community, then it was very high because we don't even know what to do. Even the police, even the elders then, they were just keeping quiet on it. But since when you guys came in, it's much better now because with things happening now, it's very okay. Now, any little thing now, they do come to us. If it's what we can settle there, we do. If it's what we can reach to you guys, we do it. So now it's okay.
So a lokacin da ina yaro, an ci zarafina a lokacin da ina kamar shekara 6 ne. So wannan abun ya dinga damuna sosai, har ya sa bana iya sake sosai. Amma da na zo na samu wannan seminar din wanda ake kira OSS, suka koya mun abubuwa da yawa kamar psychosocial support, wanda yana gaya mun da cewa ba karshe ba ne, zan iya sake in tashi in yi abin da ban iya yi da ba, ko kuma wannan tunanin da yana zuciyana, through wannan seminar sai wannan tunanin ya fita mun akan wannan abun da ya faru da ni. So da na haɗu da wayannan counselors din, sun yi magana da ni sosai, sun ce mana in cire wannan abun a zuciyana. So da na haɗu da su sai na samu wannan saukin zuciya, ba na jin wannan abu. Ni zan ce da cewa an samu cin gaba sosai, domin tun da a wannan community namu ba wani kungiya wanda tana dauke nauyin matsaloli kamar fyaɗe da sauransu. Amma yanzu through wannan sensitization din an samu cin gaba sosai, domin yanzu mun bi anguwa musa, mun bi wurin sarakuna, so an ba da awareness sosai game da wannan cin zarafi na mata din. So yanzu abun ya rage a community namu. Wannan a Safe Spaces Center office da aka bude mana saboda mutane su dinga kawo kara, suna kawo cases nasu. Gaskiya akwai cin gaba sosai because tun da aka bude wannan wurin muna samu cases sosai, musamman akan shi gender based violence da sauransu. Mun fita muna dai gaya ma mutane ga yanda abun yake, in kana da wani matsaloli da ya shafe mata da 'yan mata, kuma through wannan gender based violence din da ake cin zarafin mata da 'yan mata. So muna gaya musu, so abun ya sa sun dauki interest, suna samun zuwa. Sun zo dai muna zaunar da su mu ji case ɗinsu, mu ji me za su faɗa ko ya shafe wannan under wannan namu umbrella namu, wanda muna cases namu dai wanda muke dauko mu kai office namu a daya treating. So ba kowane case bane in mutum ya kawo muna wannan, mukan so mu ci case din ko it concerns wannan namu. Okay, so in muka bincika case na mutum muka gan da cewa ya shafi wannan bangaren cin zarafin mata da 'yan mata, wato gender based violence, muka ɗauka wannan case sai mu kai ma iwi, ko kuma mu ba su number toll free, wato kiran kyauta wanda za su iya su kira sai a ji su. So mu dai a inda aka koya mana a OSS din, ba wai inda abu ya faru da kai sai kai shiru bane, amma sun gaya mana da cewa shiru din nan shine yana increasing rate na gender based violence. Amma in ya faru mu yi kokarin mu reporting salinan a bi wannan case. So ta dalilin wannan OSS din, ta dalilin wannan program din da muka yi, suka koya mana abubuwa da dama, sun nuna mana hanyoyi da dama wanda za mu bi mu tackling wannan cases din inda ya faru. So saboda wannan enlightenment din through wannan OSS din, yanzu ba ma shiru da cases. In anything ya faru haka, an abu ya faru, muna ga mun bi shi saboda an koya mana kan mu zo na shiru kuma.
Sunana Dusa Sarki Ajiya. Ni ne sakatare na Sarkin Romi. Sannan at the same time ni ne shugaban tattawa na Gbagin Kaduna. Sannan mai martaba wasu cikin ya bani title as ajiyan Gbagi na Kaduna State. Gaskiya mun gode da min kungiyanku lokacin da kuka fara zuwa shekara 4 nan zuwa yanzu akwai raguwa da yawa. Da can sai mun kan samu 'ya'yanmu suna rikici da yawa, amma da kuka zo kuka haɗa matan nan kuna koyar da su, sun shiga sun yi aikin da kuka ba su. Yawanci wannan abubuwa da suke faruwa da sun ragu yanzu. Mu settlement ne muke idan akwai rashin jituwa tsakanin ko family ko sha'anin aure da sauransu. Amma case da muga ya sha ƙarfinmu wanda za ta je wajen hukuma, sai mu tura wa hukuma 'yan sanda sai su tafiyar da shi. Kamar an yi faɗan da an jiwa juna sosai, ba muka karbe sa. Amma mun gode wa Allah, waɗannan irin abubuwa ba sa faruwa. Kuma case na sata ko fasa gida, in an kawo mana nan mukan tura shi zuwa wajen 'yan sanda da ba ma karɓar shi. Don ba sarki iko ya yi shari'an na sata ba. Domin sai da suka fita waje suna koyar da su yadda za a haɗa kungiya a yi cooperative har a samu wayewan kai. Domin a kasuwanci gaskiya kungiya ku ta koyar masu sun san kasuwanci yanzu. Sannan kuma a haɗin kai ya kawo haɗin kai kwarai da gaske na taimakon juna. Ita abin da nake so in gaya ma wannan kungiya sai godiya da kuma kira. Wannan irin kungiyoyi suna taimaka kwarai da gaske, domin a lokacin da kuka zo akwai wasu yara kamar sun gagara, amma da kuka zo ku koyi su wannan matan nan sun ɗauki matakin koyar da su. To abin da nake roko yanzu, kada ku gajiyar da mu, domin yadda kuka zo kun taimaka, bari ku ci gaba da zuwa a taimaka ma anguwar Rome domin zaman lafiya ta ci gaba da samuwa.
Sunana Habila Sarki Ajiya, menguwa anguwan Bala a Rome. Ina mai farin ciki in shaida maku cewa da can ido bai bude ba, amma lokacin da wannan organization suka zo suka kara bude ma al'umma ido, batun cin zarafi ta saukaka. Mun gane in an samu matsala bisa ga kwaisuwan da wannan organization suka koya mana, ya nuna mana hanyoyi daban-daban yadda za mu bi domin mu kwace yancinmu. So mun yi farin ciki, al'umman mazauna Rome sun yi farin ciki da wannan kungiya. Shakka babu wannan kungiya da suka zo kusan shekara 3 da suka gabata, sun zo gurin al'umma suka gaya mana manufan zuwansu, kuma sun ce mu samun mutane musamman gajiyayyu da waɗanda an ci zarafinsu da kuma nakasassu. Mu kuma ba da sunaye. Wannan kungiya ta fara wayar ma mutane da kai da wasu hanyoyi na taimako daban-daban gaskiya tun da muka fara zama a nan anguwan Romi, jama'a kungiyoyi daban-daban suna zuwa masu ba da tallafi. Ba mu taba samu wata kungiya mai karfi mai taimako kamar wannan kungiya ta OSS ba. Mun yi farin ciki mun samu taimako ta gefen abinci, musamman irin wahalar da mutane suke sha, bangaren kudi, bangaren abinci. Waɗanda sun samu shiga sun yi farin ciki. Mu addu'anmu ne wannan kungiya ta sake zo ta taimaka ma wansu da yawa, muna da su da yawa. To amma da yake an ba da ka'idodin nomba da ake bukata, addu'anmu ne a madadin mutanen Romi mu kawo kuka ga wannan kungiya ta sake dawo ta samu mana wasu gajiyayyu da marayu domin su ci amfanin wannan taimakon da ake ba da shi. To a madadin mazauna anguwan Romi, ina so in karfafa musamman su matayen da sun samu dama suka ci gajiyan wannan taimako da OSS suka kawo mana a Najeriya kuma a Kaduna musamman, bisa ga cooperative da wannan kungiya ta bude ma jama'a nan, matanmu muna karfafa su cewa kada su yi wasa da shi domin zai taimaka masu har su kwai da wasu ma da suna a baya domin cin gajiyan taimakon da aka yi. Na karfafa cooperative nan da kudin da aka ba su suna kasuwanci da iri taimakon da za su yi ma anguwa bisa ga kwaisuwa. Za su zo su taimaka a primary school, sun samu kudin shiga za su taimaka a primary school, za su taimaka ko gyaran ruwa wanda jama'a suke sha an samu matsala. To wannan kungiya gaskiya inda suka war mana da kai mun ji daɗi, mun yi farin ciki. Kukana da kuma roko shine manyan nan su taimaka mana su sake zo su yi mana iri wannan kwaisuwa domin muna da jama'a da yawa. Kukana kenan, ina so a sake zo a yi mana. Allah ya sa maku albarka. Wannan kungiya muna roka gaba za su yi domin su zo su yi a nan Najeriya, a Kaduna da kuma angwaninmu da aka zaba. Allah ya sa mana albarka.
Sunana Muhammad Idris Waziri, sarki anguwan Dosa. Kusan anguwan Dosa mun fuskanci matsaloli iri-iri kamar su fyaɗe, kamar 'yan sara suka, kamar yara masu kwace-kwacen waya haka, kwanoni menene duka dai ba mu da umarni mu ce za mu aje. Kusan za mu ce mun sama ƙalubale da wa'annan abubuwa. To amma kusan da izinin Ubangiji da taimakon al'umma da taimakon iyayenmu da taimakon ku kuma kanku yan kungiya duka kun shigo mun tafi gaba ɗaya mun tsira tare mun sama sauƙin wannan abu. Kusan kamar fyaɗe, mun kama masu fyaɗe za mu za mun kira ku, akwai goyon bayan da kuka bamu. Bayan abin ya fi karmu ma muna miƙa ma hukuma, kuma duk wani muka kama da irin wannan ishu din, in dai aka gama kesi sun ta gurin 'yan sanda ba mu ma ƙara ganin sana a anguwan Dosa, koransu muke a anguwan Dosa. Kusan da aka kawo wannan project wallahi mun yi farin ciki 100%, saboda ya taimaka ma iyalanmu da marayu duka gaba ɗaya da mata masu aure dukansu sun zo an haɗa hannu gaba ɗaya da ku gaba ɗaya. Ba ƙaramin daɗi muka ji ba za a kawo wannan project. Mu ba mu so an ce ma project ɗin ya ƙare ba, mun so a ce an ci gaba a anguwan Dosa, tunda mun samu benefit sosai a gurin iyali, tunda sun taimaka wa mazajensu da sana'o'i da suka yi gaba ɗaya sun sama abin da suke bukata. Tunda mun san ba wani rikici da aka samu ko an samu wani kalubale duka da mu samu ba, tunda mu haɗa hannunmu gaba ɗaya mun taimaki juna gaba ɗaya. Kusan shi yasa a kullum in na tafi wasu anguwanni nake ce ma sarakuna na, sauran sarakuna abokan ayyuka na, nake ce musu akwai wani project da aka yi a anguwan Dosa kuma mun samu tallafin project din nan saboda iyalanmu gaba ɗaya sun ji daɗin wannan project da aka yi. Shi yasa muka ce ai ba mu ji daɗi a ce wannan project ya ƙare ba. to muna shi yasa muke roƙon ku inda yanda za a yi a ƙara kawo mana project a garin Anguwan Dosa, ba kuma Anguwan Dosa kaɗai ba, duka muna sa jagoran duk gunduman kawo, duka har mai girma hakimi ma sai da na gaya mishi wannan maganar project da ake a Anguwan Dosa, shi ma ya na'am da shi. Kusan canjin da na ga walwala, saboda za a ga da macen da ba ta sa riga mai kyau ko zannuwa masu kyau gashi suna siya suna ɗinka ma kansu zannuwa masu kyau. Akwai wanda ta ce mun ta ce wa mijinta ma ya dakatar kawai ta samu sana'a, ita take tallafa ma mijin, suke tallafa saboda mijin ba karfi yake da shi ba, to ita take tallafa ma gida, take komai. Kin ga ta ji daɗin wannan abu kenan, inda ce bata ji daɗi ba ba za ta ce mijinta a bari ta tallafa ma mijinta wannan tafiya da za a yi ba. To kin ga ba karamin daɗi muka ji ba, tunda kun haɗa hannu da ku gaba ɗaya an samu nasarar wannan abin da ake nema, tunda kuna tallafa mutane sosai yadda ya kamata, tunda ba wanda zai ce gashi an yi fada da ku ko a kun saba ma wani ko kun nuna bacin ranku a wannan tafiya. Dama abin da nake so in gaya muku, da Allah ku ƙara a ce a kawo Anguwan Dosa ko muna bukata. To kuma muna godiya ubangiji abin da kuka sa gaba, ubangiji Allah ya ba ku sa'a, kuma shugabannin naku ku ce muna musu godiya, mun gode kwarai Allah ya ƙara zumunci.
The project team, supported by 3 technical experts and 4 project partners with experiences of working with women of gender-based violence survivors, women empowerment, legal practices, and psychosocial support, were able to implement the project activities with its critical part that was developed from the needs assessment which were conducted in these communities to address issues, pass on knowledge, and help with identification of solutions within their communities.
My name is Rebecca Sako John. I'm a permanent commissioner with the Kaduna State Peace Commission. Under the OSS project, I was an expert. Well, looking at the project's objectives itself, I expected, my own assumption was that the AWI wanted me to support them in terms of looking at how to work with those women to create, in using the spaces that they would provide for them to discuss issues that affect them, and especially looking at sexual and gender-based violence. So what type of opportunities are there for these women to have their issues heard and addressed? How can we support them in all ramifications? How do we link them with the relevant authorities or service providers so that their issues will be addressed? And then also, I knew that AWI was also looking on to us as the experts in the field, because we've been involved in looking at women's rights issues, fundamental rights issues, looking at issues of gender-based violence, to provide some value, add value to the project's deliverables. And so it was not just in terms of working with the women, but also working with AWI staff to see that we're able to come up with better activities, better outcomes in the project. I think the project, in my own mind, to my own understanding, was a huge success, because yes, it provided those spaces for those women, for them to begin to speak out, to come out of the hiding places, to come and talk about the issues that affect them. And it also provided them with the space to collectively discuss these issues, which they were not doing before, to support one another. So it was like a kind of peer learning for them, but also trying to influence them to collectively agree on how to deal with their issues. And within the project also, we saw that they were able to come together and form that cooperative where it will help them in improving their livelihoods. So the cooperatives, to a large extent, not only help the women in thinking around networking, but also in building up their economic base in terms of collectively agreeing on what business venture to go into, and then going through that business venture. That whole process of that cooperative, formation of the cooperative, going to the cooperative, holding meetings, agreeing, and trying to make profit out of the little they had is a whole new learning for a lot of them. And I know that they are going to replicate that in other ways, even though we have such things maybe in town unions and other associations, but this, for the first time, these women came together. They were brought together to network closely with one another, understand one another, and collectively agree on something that would benefit them within their community. So I think it was a huge success in that aspect. Then also looking at the programming in terms of deliverables, the experts, as an expert, we worked closely with the AWE team because we had quarterly meetings where we looked at the activities for the quarter. We looked at how far they have been achieved, looked at the outcomes, and also we shared our own advice on how they can resolve challenges. And there were a few challenges that they encountered along the way, and we tried to be able to provide our own solutions, which the AWE team took. So they carried us along, and I think it was a very good process. It's not in many projects that you have that type of relationship, that you have experts that you carry along. They have quarterly reviews, quarterly planning together, and also the experts took turns in providing support in terms of in the trainings, in the visitations, and other things. So it was a very good thing. So we felt that we were part of the project, not just like a consultant brought in to just come and deliver a workshop session and go. But you were part of everything and you were carried along. So I think that it was a very good initiative by the AWE team, and it worked very well because you could see at the quarterly meetings that we had almost 100 or 90% of the experts, except if they were otherwise engaged, that they were all there and chipping in their own quota. And I'm happy that I was part of this process.
I'm Amina Audu Mohammed, ESQ, a chairperson of the Observatory Steering Committee on Violence Against Women and Girls. I'm an expert in the OSS, one of the experts in the OSS project. It's a continuation program of NSRP, Nigerian Stability and Reconciliation Program, in conjunction with education as vaccine. My expectation was positive because the environment, the coordinators, the NGO itself, that is IWE, I know it to be, friendly. So I know the women will adapt to it immediately, and they will accept it, and it's an opportunity, to hear what it has been bothering them for a very long time. It's really the definition of safe space. So my expectation was positive. I'm sure things will be according to plan. The project meets that expectation because the level of participation of the women, I thought, is going to be one-man show. That is from the expert side to be talking, even though they adopt immediately the environment, they were so excited with the project, but I thought we will be the only people talking. But the interaction shows that they are willing to give, to hear, to speak out, to break the culture of silence. So what they did, yes, it's really, I am really excited because the expectation is 100% per se. I thought they will hide. I never expect they will speak out. I was ready as an NGO, an expert, or the person who worked with women and girls in another platform for at least 20 years. The approach, I was expecting, I know they were friendly. They really accept the environment, they adapt to it. But I thought I have to do some little homework to stimulate them, for them to break that culture of silence. But I was shocked I was surprised the way they respond, the way they talk, the way they contribute, the way, in fact, let me confess, I even learned from them. They are now empowered. They can manage crisis within the family cycle, and if things prove abortive, the project have created an output that they will have an access, easy access. That is, if it involves government or the law, they will have easy access to go and cry out for help. So they have grown financially. I mean, in their mind, they developed, their minds now is developed more than the stage we met them. Yes. To me, it's an opportunity to give more, give contribution to my people. This is a platform. I congratulate Iwi. I congratulate the staff. I congratulate everybody that contributes in one way or the other, the sponsors, because they have touched a lot of people. Because touching a woman psychologically, empowered her, is extending that gesture to about 10 people per woman. So it's a lot. So this project gave me the opportunity to give my own contribution, and which I'm sure we both deliver. Yes. So in this contribution, the opportunity given to me by UWI is the counseling in the office. That is the less privileged women and children who cannot reach or who cannot confront the police, the law, or go to court directly. This platform has given them the output, and I was privileged, opportune to sit on the counseling, because mainly it's family, maintenance, divorce, violence, and so on. I was given the opportunity and privilege to curtail without exposing family to danger, even though, thank God, now we are about to have a family court. But before then, taking this family to ordinary court, open court, is subjecting them to exposure. And when I say exposure, I mean unpleasant exposure, because the journalists are there and the family cycle, we need to curtail and give a wonderful grooming atmosphere to a family. But before the family court started, we have given that curtain, that security. So I was privileged to use that platform to give my contribution as a counselor, to sit on family issue, to curtail, in fact, family problems. Thank you.
I am Nana Kundam. I am the Center Manager for Salama Sexual Assault Referral Center at Dr. Gwamna 1 General Hospital, Kakuru. We also partner with the OSS project. Okay, so SAC is it's called Sexual Assault Referral Center. What we do here is we provide services for survivors of sexual assault. And we offer psychosocial counseling, because we know that most of them are affected psychologically. They have from the trauma they've experienced. So we offer psychosocial support to them. And then we also offer free medical services. We do HIV testing, hepatitis, and other STIs. And then we also offer free, whatever medication that we offer here or service we provide here is free. And then for people who want to follow the legal route, we also support them in making referrals for other services that we do not provide here. The way we partnered with the OSS project is we had what we call a survivors forum, and we had survivors come in, and we had a session with them where it was like experience sharing, and then it was also like a self-help group for them. And then some of them actually came back afterward for more counseling, psychosocial support, and also referrals to other agencies for services that we couldn't handle here.
The project can impact my life on different ways, and especially on psychosocial support system.
Ni da na je wannan Salama Sexual Assault Referral Center din. Da na je na same su suka ban shawarwari, sun magana da ni, suna gaya min karan damu, sun bani wasu testimonies akan waɗansu mutane wanda yanzu mutane na abubuwan da yake zuciyarsu ya fita, an ba su psychological support ya fita a zuciyarsu.
So I would say the partnership was, will I say, good, because we were able to provide some of the help that these women needed.
I was shy, I lost confidence on myself, so they introduced me to Salama Center, which I do go there for counseling. With the people there, they help me out on counseling, on how I can get myself back, and also on treatments, many other things. So I've been thankful to them and up to today.
So I would also like to say that the partnership was good or is good, and we hope for more with your organization and other CSOs, because the reason is you work with women in communities and we might not be able to reach these women. So when we partner, we're able to reach a wider range of people. We're able to offer more services. People become aware of the Salama Center, what we do, and then it's easier to create awareness and also support for the women that they need. So I think we would welcome more partnerships and working together in the future. Thank you.
During November 2019 to November 2022, the project carried out 11 seminars with its direct project beneficiaries and held a seminar with community stakeholders, family members, security agencies, group leaders, and men and boys within project communities. There were also 4 community mobilization activities which involved all project direct and indirect beneficiaries, community stakeholders, community members, and other ministries, departments, and agencies. Over the span of 30 years, the project held several monitoring and mentoring visits to its beneficiaries to track their welfare and progressive changes to the normalization of their lives within their communities. During these monitoring and mentoring visits, experts were engaged in talking with the beneficiaries to make them see the need to prioritize the lessons learned from the project. During the COVID-19 pandemic, relief materials in the form of care packages consisting of personal protective equipment, which included antiseptic soaps, face masks, disposable gloves, disinfectants, and hand sanitizers, alongside stapled food items, were distributed to all 80 primary beneficiaries in 3 consecutive phases.
Sun taimake mu sosai, bare lokacin corona ana zaune a gida da mazaje ba aiki. Wannan tallafi ya taimake mu sosai, har mazajen mu duka sun ji daɗin wannan tallafi sosai da sosai. Kuma mun gode Allah saka da alheri.
Gaskiya lokaci corona abubuwa da kuka bamu gaskiya ya taimake rayuwa mu sosai. Lokacin corona wannan mu ma mun samu mun ci da iyali mu har mun ba wadansu ma wanda suna kusa da mu ma mun tallafa musu domin gaskiya abin ba da sauki ba, wahala ya zo yana nan a lokaci din sosai, ba abubuwa da suna tafiya kamar yadda suna tafiya yanzu da corona ya kare.
4 cooperative societies were launched in March 2021, 2 in each of the project communities of Angwandosa and Angwanromi, with 20 primary beneficiaries, each as members of the cooperative society. The cooperative societies enhances the women's financial level as they were also given capital to carry out businesses and gain income that they share to improve their finances. The cooperative office also serves as a safe space center within the communities. Cases reported to the center are being referred to Empowering Women for Excellence initiative or any project partners for further investigation.
What I will say about the organization, cooperative, is a good cooperative.
Okay, my name is Sumaya Umar Aliyu, and I'm the head of internal control in Mabinas Microfinance Bank and also a financial expert in the OSS, our Safe Space project. As the head of internal control, I am kind of like the detective in the bank. I take care of all transactions, see to it that we don't have problems, and when there are problems, we rectify it before it goes out of hand. So Mabinas Microfinance Bank is a microfinance bank located in the heart of Kaduna, and as a microfinance bank, most of our job is to give out loans to SMEs and people into small businesses. We empower people, and sometimes we focus more on women as giving them a kind of financial inclusion. So we give out loans, we do a kind of school drive, mostly for women and children. We pay their school fees and then they pay in installments afterwards. We also do product lease. When you have a business, you can come to us and then we buy maybe equipment. If you want us to pay rent, we do that. So those are one of the prominent products we do. Okay, our role as a bank is to manage the funds given to the cooperatives by the OSS Safe Space project. So we manage the funds, we monitor the cooperatives as well, what they use the funds for, and then how they have been carrying it out. Been helping them to grow their cooperatives. We've been monitoring them. They have been doing different businesses, and it's a success story. My first encounter with the primary and secondary beneficiaries of the OSS project was in December 2020, when we had a seminar for the beneficiaries in Ngwandosa and in Ngwanromi, and then I was opportuned to facilitate on a topic, business management. So that was my first encounter with those women. Okay, talking about growth, I would say these women have grown quite well. Like, I am proud of the women they are now from when I first met them. And with the cooperative initiative in place, and then they have been working through it fantastically. It's a really, really drastic growth. They have grown so much from where they are. Yeah, in everything there is always challenge. Yes, there was a bit of a challenge, but then it's exciting because you get to help women. You get to see these women firsthand, and then you get to learn what they have gone through and then how to help them through it. So it's quite exciting, more exciting than challenging. Let's say an 80-20% kind of thing, but it's exciting. I really did enjoy working with those women and still working with them. What I'm most proud of is the cooperative. Yeah, I am so proud of them and how they have used this cooperative to sustain themselves, to help each other, help their kids in need, as far as going to help their husbands also and their families at large. So for me, the cooperative is the most successful thing for me, and I'm really, really happy. Definitely, I totally enjoy working in the OSS project, and I wouldn't mind working there for but then I really did enjoy working. It was fun, it was exciting, it was challenging, it was emotional, and then it was educative. Like, you get to learn with them, you get to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So it was a learning experience, and I really did enjoy it. Not really. What I would like to add is I would only want to say that IWI have done a fantastic job with the OSS project, and it's, I don't know, but it's like it's too soon for it to end. But they have really did so much for these women, and there are so many women out there that need to be impacted, which they did indirectly and directly. And for that, kudos to IWI. You guys have done a great job.
Gaskiya wannan preparation ɗin da wannan samina gaskiya ya taimake mu sosai.
Da ina sana'a na ba wannan ba ni da jari sosai mai ƙarfi. Sanadin wannan ƙungiya da aka bani jari, na samu jari har ya kai ga ina sa kajina da yawa, in sa su in sayar da su, in samu riba, in taimaki kaina, in taimaki 'ya'yana.
Through the self-space center, the cooperative which they have opened for us have been able to achieve many things. For example, like due to savings.
Alhamdulillah, gaskiya mun amfana. Sabida wayannan kuɗi da kuka bamu, gaskiya mun ji daɗin shi. Sabida ni kaina na sai baro da ake mun aiki da shi, duk sati za a kawo min 1,500. Duk sati 1,500, kuma na samu riba, na samu amfana. Tunda har na biya kuɗin kuma ina samun kuɗina, ina amfani da shi. Yara na zan taimaka musu, ko miji bai baka ba shi ma za ka taimaka mishi. Za ka yi amfani da shi, ko saura su ma ɗin akwai wanda suka yi sana'o'i da yawa, su ma ɗin sun ƙaru da shi.
Kwarai da gaske, wani cooperative ya ɗaga yawanci mata waɗanda ba su da abin da za su yi kasuwanci da shi, sun tashi sun kuma taimake waɗansu ma da ba sa cikin cooperative ɗin.
Kuma gaskiya wannan cooperative da kuka bude mamu, da idan kun ba mu aro kudi sai mu je mu siya kaya, mu zo mu kira mata mu raba, kuma muna rage kudi da muna sadda kaya din. Kamar a kasuwa ana sadda manja 1,000 sai mu sadda shi 950, domin muna rage masu. Shine ya sa kaya da muna siya nan da nan, mun siya nan da nan sai ka ga ya kare, sai mu sake mu koma kuma mu je mu siya wadansu kuma a kasuwa. Haka ne muna yi, muna taimaka. Kuma akwai wani shekara da ya wuce mun zo dan interest da muka samu, sai muka kira abinan, muka siya magi, mun kira mata, kalila mata dai da shike ba mu rigiya mun yi karfi ba, sai muka dan sansan masu sace guda daya su je su yi miya. Muna da bege da farin ciki idan Allah ya taimake mu mun ci gaba da wannan cooperative din. Idan mun yi karfi har makarantu ma za mu ta siya masu kaya, tsintsiya da toilet abinan duk muna kai masu.
The Our Safe Spaces Project Seminars has equipped its project beneficiaries with the capacity to creating and facilitating peer support for women and girls in their communities, access psychosocial services, understanding the inclusion in community life, increase knowledge of rights, and developing reduced vulnerability to violence and build resilience. Community mobilization seminars were held to sensitize the community members on reporting any form of gender-based violence, to ensure community leaders and key decision makers and authorities advocate for change in behaviors, attitude or practice, and take action to prevent and end violence against women gender. During the community mobilization seminars, community stakeholders and beneficiaries came up with declarations and signed showing ownership of the project and the need to end violence against women gender. Subsequently, a gender-based violence toll-free helpline was launched to enable persons call in to report cases of gender-based violence at a no-cost tariff. Project staff members were trained to use the gender-based violence toll-free helpline to provide solutions to individuals who called to report gender-based violence incidents. Dissemination of the gender-based violence toll-free helpline was done using social media influencers, online posts, radio jingles, stickers, and flyers, and through the community members who served as vanguards for this cause. With the help of the toll-free helpline, several gender-based violence cases have been received, and justice has been brought for these women.
My name is Jalila Abidoye. I'm a facilitator of the Our Safe Spaces project. I was excited, and what I was mainly excited about was getting to interact with women who are survivors of gender-based violence, and I was also hoping to learn from their experiences while building my capacity as an advocate against gender-based violence. Absolutely, yes. My expectations were met and even exceeded, I would say. So I was opportune again to facilitate the entire seminars, as well as other engagements that happened within the project timeline. And the expectation I had of capacity building was exceeded, because I went in as a newbie facilitator in the field of GBV, and throughout the project I was able to build my knowledge on the field of gender-based violence, particularly for women and girls, and as well as build my capacity in facilitating different groups on sensitive issues such as GBV. My first encounter was memorable. I cannot forget. So, because one of the first things I facilitated was an ice-breaking activity. And I would say it was memorable because the women were excited to participate in the icebreaker. And it was fun for them and for me as well, because as a facilitator, I can only enjoy facilitating an activity if the beneficiaries are participating in the process and are enjoying the entire process. And that's exactly what happened with the icebreaking activity. And one of the first other things I facilitated was a pre-test. And because the pre-test had to be translated in the local language spoken, which is Hausa, I remember I eventually had a nickname because of my translation of Hausa, and they would often call me, Sosai. And then every time I come up to facilitate pre or post test, they were already familiar with the process. And so that was really, really memorable for me. The other encounters with the beneficiaries throughout the project would be, facilitating other small group discussions as well as large group discussions on issues of GBV. And the response was very powerful, because the context here in our community, as a young woman facilitating or engaging beneficiaries who are both young as well as older group, can sometimes be difficult because of the dynamics. In our context, our culture and tradition, we're usually respectful of the elderly. And so how do I balance having activities that young people are comfortable to engage with the older group? It was really interesting.
Through our Safe Spaces project, Empowering Women for Excellence initiative was also able to provide support to partners and community-based organizations, specifically groups who do not have resources to develop a risk management and contingency plan. This was paramount because risk management and contingency plan is key to supporting the work of ending violence against women and girls in Kaduna State. Angwanromi and Angwandosa have witnessed a positive shift in community members' attitudes to gender-based violence, increased socio-cultural and financial development in beneficiaries, and access to psychosocial support in communities.
My name is Mendy Jeremiah. I'm the Program Officer Gender with Empowering Women for Excellence Initiative, and I happen to be the focal person monitoring and evaluation for the OSS project.
My name is Bukiso Ali Gwabin. I'm the secondary focal person for the Safe Spaces project, OSS.
Okay, so the OSS project, I would say so far, over the span of 3 years, has met with the expectation we have. And the initial design of the OSS project was to address 3 key areas. That is 3 outcomes. One was access to psychosocial support for our beneficiaries. The other looked at community support system for survivors of violence against women and girls, while the third was looking at us providing evidence that other sisters organizations could use for advocacy to address violence against women and girls. So far, I would say, by our program activities and success stories we've recorded over the past 3 years, I would say we've met with this. We've been able to have women and girls, both direct and indirect primary beneficiaries, assessing the psychosocial support system available in the state. That is speaking about the Sexual Assault and Referral Center. We've also had women and girls who have improved economically, because that is another component of the project. And we've also been able to know that violence against women and girls are happening within the communities, but there are no documentations for this thing. I mean, like during our situational analysis, we were able to find out that these things are there in the community, and the culture of silence still dominates it, and there are no documentations. People are not speaking about it. So for that outcome, that has covered that. And then we look at community support. So in the course of this activity, we've been able to conduct community mobilization activities. We've also engaged men and boys in a seminar. And during the community mobilization activities, community members, that is the traditional rulers, religious leaders, youth group, ethnic groups in the 2 communities we are working with, Angwandosa and Angwanrumi, were able to develop a community declaration on violence against women and girls. So in that declaration, they took their stand not to condone persons, perpetrators, and also not to keep quiet, and most importantly, to support survivors of violence. So I would say that the project has met with its goal so far.
Working with the women was both challenging and exciting. But for me, it was more exciting than challenging, yeah? So exciting in the sense that these are women you don't know. These are totally different women from different communities. You've not met them from anywhere. You don't know anything about them. You're bringing them together. There's this expectation. You don't know what is going to come out of it, right? Joining 80 women in a room, going through seminars, sessions with them wasn't easy. So for me, it was exciting because I had the opportunity to meet a lot of people from different places. I had the opportunity to teach and anchor sessions where the elderlies were people that were old enough to be my grandparents, people that are old enough to be my parents, especially with our context in northern Nigeria here. You know how it is with the younger generations standing up and speaking to the older generation. You wouldn't expect the reaction that would come from them. But for me, there was acceptance at the end. There was the willingness to learn. There was the willingness to involve themselves, the willingness to want to know more was there. So it was very exciting for me. A little bit of the challenge for me was especially with the survivors, GBV survivors. You know how before now they've isolated themselves. They weren't willing to speak out. They weren't willing to interact. They weren't willing to open up to you to speak. So it was a bit of a challenge knowing what is in them. Like as you're teaching, as you're telling them, as you're going through your seminars, getting responses. At the beginning, it was a bit challenging. But because we kept on with the sessions, they understood what we were doing. They were able to open up and speak. Yeah.
My relationship with project beneficiaries have been very, very interesting. And, the good thing is that in this line of work, we've been able to define our boundaries and our lines using the project staff have been took course on the sexual C policy. And so for male project staff, we know our boundaries. And even for the female project staff, we understand what is expected of us. And so we try to be as open and as friendly as we can be with these beneficiaries, because one key thing is giving them that confidence of that they can trust in you to share their story in the first place. So they can trust you not to kind of discriminate them or give them some form of expression that it's similar to what they've witnessed before, which is also why people do not want to share their stories most times when condemnation comes from a person you are sharing your story with. But we've been able to be very professional with them and friendly as well. I mean, literally all our project beneficiaries, through our monitoring visits and every other thing, we are able to know their homes. We've relate not just with them, but even with their family members. And we've gone a long way too, because it's important, especially when dealing with survivors, to see that first support they need is from the family, right? So if the family do not give this support, it becomes more frustrating. So we try as much as possible to ensure that we do not just end our working relationship with the beneficiaries, but also with their family members. So we kind of have this cordial relationship. I mean, 3 years, we've become more like a family with them.
During this COVID-19 period, we were able to provide them with the basic staple food items they needed at home, because we know that people were restricted from going out. Family members could not go out to meet their end needs as usual. So in order to help relieve this burden off their families, we gave them staple food items and PPEs for their safety as well. So because of this, we had more connection. Lots of the family members wanted to know who these people were, who this organization is, what they do and all. And so we got to even bond even stronger.
Most cases we've recorded through our GBV toll-free helpline and even direct contacts without calls through the GBV helpline have been through recommendation by primary beneficiaries. I mean, most of the cases we got, especially from our Wandosa community, came as a result of recommendation from the primary beneficiaries. Oftentimes when we ask complainants how did they get to hear about us, they'll say it's one of the women that are part of the OSS project that talk to them, that they can come to us. Whatever the case is, we'll be able to address it. So I think they've been able to, should I say, preach the gospel in their community to tell other women that you don't need to be silent, whereby you are in a particular abusive relationship, you should be able to lay out your complaint. And there are people out there who are willing to help. And so far, so good. We've been able to do lots of referral, which is part of this project. We've made referrals to both Legal Aid, to FIDA, and to the Salama Sexual Assault Centers, and a lot of these cases have been handled professionally the way they ought to have been done. And I believe the survivors have been happy with how things have been treated here. And so they are still, building on the lessons they've learned through the seminars, and they are engaging more women and girls in their community.
The knowledge we've passed on to these women has reflected in their interaction. This is solemnly, again, when we go for monitoring and mentoring visits, we visit them in their homes, we visit them in their various communities to see their interaction with family members, to see their interactions with community members. We get to hear testimonies of people within the community speaking of how our beneficiaries have affected their lives. Again, we have the GBV toll-free helpline, which we've shared through our stickers, we've shared on social media handles as well. Now, we printed these stickers in the language that the community members can understand. We printed both in Hausa and in English. So depending on the language you understand most, you could still be able to read and understand what it means. We gave our project beneficiaries, they shared to their family members, they shared within their community, and people have been calling us through those lines. And again, we've had a lot of GBV cases. Most of the cases came through these beneficiaries. When someone comes to report, you would say, oh, so how did you get to know about IWI? How did you get to know about OSS? And they would say, oh, your project beneficiary is in my community. Oh, your project beneficiary is a relative of my husband. Oh, your project beneficiary is a relative of my husband's sister and all. So there is this trace that you could trace back the information in some cases to our project beneficiaries. That's to tell you that they've learned and they have also passed on the knowledge.
Through the Our Safe Spaces project, internally displaced women and girls, indigenous women and survivors of gender-based violence and sexual exploitation due to communal conflict in Angwan and Angwan have been able to get the support they need.